Most full-frame Sony cameras have a function in them called crop mode. This is where it will switch between taking a whole sensor readout or a crop of the center of that sensor. The reason they have it is because when the Sony A series of cameras was born, there weren't that many FE lenses or full-frame E-mount lenses. So the technicians came out with a crop mode, so people who had come over from the E-mount cameras and had those crop E-mount lenses could still use those lenses on their new A-series full-frame cameras. If you have this function set to auto, when you attach a crop sensored lens, it will crop in on the frame so you don't get that hard vignetting. But you can set it to manual and override this. This gives you the option to crop in on full frame lenses as well as lenses made for crop sensors. Now if you skip forward to 2021, there are plenty of FE lenses for the full frame E-mount system, but the crop mode is still in our cameras. Now between that time of there being very few full frame lenses and now where we have a lot of them, a lot of users found this crop mode to be really handy for a couple of reasons. You could shoot with a prime lens and very quickly switch to a different framing. Or if you use zoom lenses and it wasn't quite long enough, you could switch to the crop mode and get a little bit more reach. Now it does sound like a fantastic mode, but there are a few drawbacks. With a camera like the A7 III at 24 megapixels in the full frame mode, this would drop the megapixel count to 10 megapixels in that crop mode, which by today's standards is quite small. However, with the R series of cameras, it can still be useful for stills. With the A7R II and the R3 at 42 megapixels, this would mean a cropped resolution of 18 megapixels. And with the A7R IV at 61 megapixels, this would mean cropped images of around about 26 megapixels. Now I used to do a lot of real estate shoots in Dubai with the A7R II in crop mode and the 10 to 18mm f4 lens. It was a nice light combo. I could travel to and from the locations really quickly and easily, and the customer was more than happy with the results that I got. Also, as they were just an online company, this suited them down to the ground because they weren't dealing with massive photos. So for photography, it only really benefits high resolution cameras. And actually, when you think about it logically, you could still shoot that full frame image and crop in it afterwards for exactly the same end result. Now for videography, this is where the crop mode is really useful, and I use it for this a lot of the time. On every camera but the A7S series, you can shoot in 4K in both full frame and crop mode. And if you have good quality glass, this means having two lenses in one for primes or a bit more reach for zooms. So I can shoot with my 35mm prime lens, have the full frame option at 35mm, and then quickly switch to crop mode, and it gives the equivalent field of view of a 52.5mm lens. And then with my 85mm, I can get the 85mm experience or switch to crop mode and have a 127.5mm equivalent framing. So the crop mode is really useful for shooting video or for the really high megapixel cameras for stills. But it's nice they haven't done a kind of Apple and taken out functions that the users do actually use on a regular basis. Now, do you use crop mode or do you keep it as a full frame camera all the time? Let me know in the comments below. It'll be interesting to hear who does what with their cameras. And if you like this video and want to see more, click here next. Or if you want to binge watch a load of my tutorials, click down here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for 2 videos a week on everything photography. I'll see you next time.